Ma ftemniex jienu Vikien, pero minn hemm u minn hawn kważi l-istess messaġġ irnexxinna nikdbu. Ħlif li jiena użajt il-lingwa Ingliża biex nipprepara llum. Dak li kont qed naħseb qabel ma ġejt hawnhekk, provajt nikdbu f'dawn il-ftit faċċati. About 6 years ago, one woman fought to stop Malta from becoming a mafia state. She fought corruption, abuse of power, and the network of politicians, business, and crime. That woman was blown up in her car near her family's home. And then, only then, she was no longer fighting alone for this country. As cruel as that may sound, the reality is that the assassination of that one woman was what abruptly stopped Malta from becoming an entrenched mafia state. It was also what made us join her fight, not for a better country, but for a normal country. That is where Daphne's struggle started from, and from where we continued her struggle. We were not, and we are still not, in a position to ask for a better country. We were only in a position to ask for a normal country. Our actions have already brought much needed change. Brave journalists and editors continued Daphne's investigations. They took on new investigative tracks, and they uncovered what was being hidden. They even uncovered the absurdity of a former prime minister who acts as a consultant to an exotic bird company. These journalists, in return, were called story spinners, sellers of fake news, and dismissed as being in cahoots with anti-government groups. Civil society like Repubblica and Occupy Justice continue to say what needs to be said, to expose the truth behind the veil of secrecy adopted by state entities. They are called extremists and anti-government. The work of many human rights defenders is dismissed. Stick to books and blogs whilst we continue to lead, we were told. The thing is that whether the Prime Minister likes it or not, we will continue to stick with any action that will see this country become a normal country. And then, when it does become a normal country, we will continue to stick with action that will see this country become a better than normal country. This is not about being Labour or nationalist. This is not even about the leaders of those parties. The demand for a normal country, and consequently for a better than normal country, is far bigger than any politician. No political ego can surpass the weight of the demand for a normal and a better than normal country. Our call goes beyond nationalist and Labour, and is in fact addressed to both nationalist and Labour, because our actions are based on shaping Daphne's legacy, which is a legacy of hope for Malta, and consequently hope for us. Daphne's legacy should be that her ultimate sacrifice sets Malta on the track to becoming a more mature democracy. Today, we continue to strive for democracy and for an acceptance and understanding of the truth that leads to it, and for what it means to us as a community living on this island, irrespective of who we vote for. After all, did the electricity cables heat up only for those who support civil society or who do not vote for a Labour government? Not even Miriam Dalli could manage to choose which household had electricity and which did. Rest assured that if she could, she would have ensured that Zurriq definitely would have had electricity. And then we would all have been spared the money to pay for their generator. But even there, I ask, why only the Zurriq feast? Why the Zurriq feast? Why no other? Much in the same way, corruption, abuse of power, and the benefits for the friends of friends mentality do not choose their victims. Corruption and abuse of power choose the few who become fat and fatter cats, but they steal from everyone, irrespective of whether they vote PN or PL. As much as Daphne's legacy lies in our hands, her assassination forged this country's path towards becoming a mature democracy. Daphne's assassination was investigated by a board of public inquiry. The work of that inquiry has been lauded internationally for its exceptional contribution towards attaining justice for the assassination of a journalist, for its exceptional contribution as an opportunity of truth and reconciliation, and above all, admired for charting the path for Malta to mature democratically, to become the normal country we wanted, and to go beyond being normal and be better than normal. Yet, as much as the truth that Daphne spoke fell on the deaf ears of the powerful, as much as the truth that journalists now speak and continue to speak still fall on the deaf ears of the powerful, it is a national embarrassment to see the recommendations of the public inquiry into her assassination also continue to fall on the deaf ears of the same powerful. It is that deafness that we need to continue fighting. Almost 6 years since Daphne's assassination and 2 years since the publication of the report of the public inquiry. And as a civil society, though we have attained a lot, believe me, more than most of us here realize, and definitely more than those in power would like to accept. The support to Jean-Paul Sophia's family in their call for a public inquiry, support which came from all corners, is evidence that the voice of civil society is much stronger now than it was before Daphne's assassination. But we cannot be happy with our achievements yet. Our work isn't ready. The path forged on Daphne's death for a better future for Malta has been charted, but the path has not been followed yet. 2 years since the report of the public inquiry and the systemic failures identified therein continue to exist. The recommendations of the public inquiry set 2 lanes which together forge a strong path. First, that of addressing impunity and reversing the arrogance of those who enjoy political and economic power. And secondly, that of strengthening journalism. The path forged in the inquiry's report is one which brings down the state of real impunity that the board found to exist. It does so by taking measures to strengthen the rule of law and taking measures to strengthen journalism and press freedom. So may I ask, why is it so difficult for the Prime Minister and his cabinet to implement the recommendations of the board? For example, why is it too much of an ask for the Prime Minister and his cabinet to introduce a law on unexplained wealth orders? Do they know too many people close to them who could or might be caught? Why is it too much of an ask for the Prime Minister and Cabinet to make it an offence for a holder of public office to obstruct the police and other authorities in the carrying out of their duties? Are there so many of them who do so? Why is it too much to ask for the Prime Minister and Cabinet to make abuse of office by a public officer a crime? Are they happy to have public officers abusing their role? Do the Prime Minister and the Cabinet members find it so difficult to implement these recommendations because they do not want to eradicate that very mentality which the board found to be what feeds the arrogance of those enjoying political and economic power? And may I ask, why is it so difficult for the Prime Minister and Cabinet to propose a media reform which meets international standards? I'm not even asking for a wide and transparent public consultation. We know by now that Abela doesn't want a wide, transparent public consultation on the media reforms. If he had wanted this, he would not have shoved his duty to hold one onto his own committee of experts on media. Even if we have to recognize he did so after civil society and journalists raised the alarm on the shoddiness of his own legislative proposals. So 6 years since Daphne's assassination, and her fight for a normal country goes on, but it is now up to us to continue it. It is up to us to make sure that her legacy is one of hope for Malta, that the path recommended by the Board of the Public Inquiry, a path forged on her assassination, is followed. It is up to us to clip the wings of political and economic arrogance that robs each one of us, but above all, robs our country from its true potential of being a mature democracy. Thank you.